Hi, Beatrice. It's me, Dom. I will be doing your voiceover today. Thank you so much for sending footage to review on BJJ mental models. If you have any questions about your voiceover or anything on feedback, feel free to reach out to me. If you want specific questions or any kind of specific coaching, you can also hit up the link in my bio on Instagram for my champ chat, where you can ask me a question or send me a video and ask for a video explanation in return. And it's a medium where we can kind of communicate as coach and student. So if you're interested, just hit up my Instagram. It's in my bio. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we have a state champ wrestler here, and the strategy is to pull guard. Oh, and we have initially a huge attempt at a takedown, and she's already driving forward. Okay, Beatrice, I would not hesitate at all to pull guard. I would actually keep myself super, super low to the ground. No butts up high, but in line with the knee is probably a better strategy. And as soon as you break away from that position, which you did nicely here, you're pulling away, you're starting to step back. Here is your opportunity immediately to go in for the guard pull. Let's see, we can place this foot right on that far hip and then drag her down as hard as you can into the guard pull, okay? Let's see what happens with your guard pull. You kind of keep your legs a little bit too down on the side. Both feet are planted as you're pulling her down. If she had timed things better, she actually could have circled around your hips really easily. So this is really dangerous. No 2 feet on the ground. I see that the right one is lifting off the ground and you're trying to place it in the hip. You got it right in that, right underneath the thigh at the right moment, and you tried to pull. And then before you actually get into the closed guard, she's got her knee up and she's got her defenses on. So now you resort to De La Hiva instead, which is a great strategy, except 2 sleeves is always better than 1, because if you don't have the 2 sleeves, what she's going to do, she's going to use this free hand to immediately peel your feet and prevent the De La Hiva from really being effective. So both feet on the hips now, still working on that De La. Got a moment of fixing some things. Oh, let me go back. Actually, I went too far. Here we go. All right, we have 1 foot on the shoulder, 1 foot attempting to be on the hip. Nice control of the pant leg here. Nice sweep attempt. Nice lock in for the triangle. From here, oops, sorry, meaningless circle. From here, once you have that triangle locked in, because she's giving you this intention that, or this kind of like, she's telling you that she has good posture, she's a wrestler, she's going to keep her head nice and tall no matter what position she's in. As she's shown you this entire exchange, you want to make sure you break this posture down as hard as you can. Now, usually that means people want to reach for the collar, blah, blah, blah. If you can go from collar to the back of the head to make sure you're drawing her chin down into her chest, that means she can't posture up as well. Another useful tactic is to do anything in your power to move those elbows to the side. Now, this can mean rocking your hips side to side and using your free arms to pull those elbows across, or those arms even over your head. Just anything in this position to draw the triangle in, because once you have your long ass legs over somebody's body like this, Beatrice, you got to be able to finish them, especially in a tournament setting. You don't want to work hard for you don't want to work extra hard to set up the second submission in a row of the same thing. You want to make sure the first one is dealt in one swift final blow. So we got the collar, we're working the arm a little bit, nice pull down on the head. I would grab the shin from here with my right hand. If I can escape my right hand and place it on this shin, keep this knee upright as you put this foot on the hip. By this, I mean keep your right knee upright as you put your right foot on her hip. And then use that formation to get your angle right for the triangle, to make sure that you're over like your figure fouring leg, or excuse me, not your figure fouring leg, the opposite leg, the one that goes over the shoulder, reaches knee to heel from one shoulder to the other. Reach diagonally for that shin. I feel like you're trying to maybe hold on to your feet from here. Oh, and you let go of the triangle. I'm not quite sure what your decision behind letting go of the triangle was. I'm assuming something was happening on the inside that I couldn't see, in which case probably me saying, oh, you should stay on the triangle is useless information. But if you did let go because maybe you weren't feeling it, it definitely seemed like it was there, like the opportunity to submit was there. So I think maybe for next time, program yourself to be a little bit more intentional with your submission. Like, this is the last submission that I'm going to get. Time is running out. I need to make this work. Even though you do have time, it's always better to end a match faster. I believe we're working on the De La Hiva again. This time we have sleeve control and one pant leg. Always nice to have that crossing pant leg controlled. She's got you in almost an over-under situation. Now she starts to go in for those deep passes, and you're in closed guard. Nicely done. Now from here, closed guard, you should always be drawing those knees in, drawing your heels in, anything to do to break down the posture. Nice hip bump attempt. I would say that even in the beginning here, where you have the collar, as you sit up for the hip bump, stiff arm that collar out. So push your arm, punch it into her shoulder, make her lean back, and then from there you can start to hunt for your chokes, or you can use it as an opportunity to hip bump if you want to kick out the hand that usually plants when people are defending falling backwards. You decide to go for the opposite side, which is okay, but again, she has that plant there. Now you wonderfully decided to grab the wrist, which is the perfect answer to somebody defending the hip bump, because that means the kimura is there, except when you did the hip bump, your opposite arm was crossing over the face, which means you have to bring this arm all the way over the head to get to the kimura. So I would say if you're going to commit to the hip bump, make sure that you're aligned on the right side so you can make sure that that isolated arm that you're facing when you're hip bumping is one that you can catch easily, especially if it fails and you need to kimura after. We start to reach for that arm, but she's seems like aware of what's about to happen. She starts to shrug. I would keep my legs closed from here and start to hip escape out to the other side. From here, Beatrice, if the person starts to extend their arm like she is, use that extension to wing that arm all the way over your body and use that to feed into an arm bar or perhaps even a triangle attempt if their opposite arm is nowhere to be found. It seems like you let go of the arm from here. She decides to go in for a cartwheel pass, but lands right back into your closed guard. You have pretty good activity from closed guard so far. It's not like you're not mobile. Maybe you just needed to come up with a more severe game plan. Again, we're looking for that loop choke, but I think it would be better if you just punched that hand right through. Again, looking for the kimura. Maybe also using that opportunity, if she decides to extend that arm again, to reach that arm over your body and go for the back take from here. But you're set on that kimura. You almost bring her over. If you climb your legs up even higher on the shoulders, you might potentially be able to armbar her from there. I think that hip bump there was a mistake. Let's go back a couple frames. Because as soon as you went to do it, the angle was all wrong, and I think you knew this. I think what you could have done is possibly attempted to throw this leg over the shoulder to go for the triangle. But then when you did plant on this foot, she being the sprightly wrestler that she has, decided to hop over here. And now your foot is a hook, and now she's kind of in that knee shield position looking to pass, looking to grind through. Good pressure here on that knee shield. This arm, I feel like, should be pushing on the face more to create space and get your legs back in. But I don't know if your game is more committed towards things like deep De La Hiva. Sorry, not deep De La Hiva, deep half guard. Now we go to turtle, and she's trying to flip you over. You turn into her. Nicely done. I would bring that outside hook inside the hip. So notice how you had this quick moment here as you were turning. When you turn all the way through, try to use your left leg, which we can't see, it's not pictured here, to wedge it in the hip of your opponent before they get a chance to go in for this knee cut. Even here, her hips are pretty elevated and you're really flexible. This foot can sit on the inside of the hip or even in the belly, and you can use this to push her away and create some distance. Again, arms probably should be pushing instead of holding something. This is just personal preference. So if you do have setups from here, don't listen to me. Just disregard this advice. But I like to keep strong frames at all times, especially against the shoulders and against the face. These are the number one things that prevent knee cuts from happening because people can't get close enough to you to get comfortable and find those underhooks. She goes in for the pass. You're still knee shielding away. Nice way to free that bottom leg to end back up in that De La Hiva situation. I like your intention behind the De La Hiva grips with the collar, but I really think double sleeves, especially on a wrestler, is going to work better because if you think about it, wrestlers are really used to using their hands for everything. They're pretty used to having their posture broken down. They're wrestlers, it's what will make them lose the match. So if you are able to control the sleeves instead, I think this would just be a better game plan for the De La Hiva, especially. Because she's always going to use that hand to plant like she just did and try to get onto the other side. Nice go to turtle. Nice switch around to the other side. Good knee shield. Good space making. It's a little difficult to see because you guys are a little bit far from the camera. But I love your responses to all the passes that she's done. She's never able to establish complete control. She hops over to the other side. Again, framing, bringing this elbow down against the back of her head and trying to fling it to the inside of the neck. This is going to be a game changer for you if you decide to really implement it. Just any kind of frame against the neck is what will prevent these crazy wrestlers from getting in so close. Now she's got that shoulder pressure going. I'm not quite sure what your left arm is doing here. Maybe it's holding onto the leg. I would prefer for it to be pressing against the hip. If it's against the hip, then my bad. So again, this arm hopefully getting to the inside of the neck because otherwise that's arm triangle territory. And your left arm pressing against the hip. Nice bridge to get back to turtle. Good hook to the inside. Nice attempt at wrestling up. Keep that leg. Oh. So it seems like, Beatrice, if I'm not mistaken, you just were off balance. Let's go back to that. Because that was a really, really great attempt at wrestling up. But I think the issue here is when you do this kind of trip, it's not your foot that is reaching. It's rather, well, it is your foot that's reaching. Sorry, that's incorrect. It's an incorrect idea to tell you. But before you reach out your foot, you want to press your hip into their hip. And when you do so, you want to kind of have a forward leaning motion. If you've ever done an osotogari, you know that the intent is not to just use your leg to pick the back of the leg. It's your intent to keep one half of your body in one straight line. So if you're soto-garing with your right leg plus torso plus head and arms all stay in one line as that all stays in one line as you swing forward. So when you swing, your right leg is staying in line with your head as you bow your head down and reach that leg up to pick the back of the knee. And when you're doing this type of trip, you got to keep with that same sort of inertia. You got to keep moving forward, go hip to hip, and then extend that leg out from under her rather than reaching and trying to pull her in. Because what happens when you try to pull the person in is she goes with your motion. She's experienced at this. She's a wrestler. She's got her kind of balance down pat. So this is what she did, is she used you pulling back to counter you backward. But what I will say is the wrestling up was great. That was a really great attempt. I think if you had just corrected that last bit on the trip, you would have gotten it. So really great job there. Super impressive. It's a little hard to see, but I feel like we're playing that De La Hiva game again. Again, from here, I'd say control the sleeves, work on some spider from here. Her head's so low. Her base is all driving in towards you and not really spaced out to the side. Would be really great to take her side to side from here because she does put herself in one line when she's doing her De La Hiva defense against you, which means that it's going to be an easy opportunity for you to do something like De La Hiva, spider guard this shoulder and then push this knee out and things like that. Nice lift upwards, but again, those pesky wrestlers and their cartwheels. Nice secondary triangle attempt. She again goes for that almost stack pass, almost over under pass. You go to the inversion. I would, if possible, even try to go underneath her legs. Nice triangle lock up here. Let's see what happens. It seems like it might be a little bit low on the head. I would armbar from here, but she uses that as a method to turn you over. Okay, take it back. I take it back. I would not armbar from here because of the way that you guys were situated. Let's go back on these. Sorry. Okay, we're in this beautiful armbar triangle situation. I guess because you're tipped so far down. Okay, here's what I have to say. I don't ever go for belly down arm bars because I think they're super dangerous, especially with someone with crazy shoulder mobility, super strong shoulders, or someone who is really good at gymnastics or wrestling, because they always are just able to worm their way out of this position and it sucks. If you have a triangle against someone, don't turn away from them. Maybe this could have been an opportunity for you to flip her all the way over, but I think the angle just wasn't right. I think she just used it as a way to escape her arm, and I think if you had stayed on the triangle, it probably would have been a better course of action. Now from here, I would try to roll back as hard as I could, maybe get underneath the legs, maybe try to go in for an inversion, or try to go in for another triangle if her arms are open wide. She goes in for that pass. I would continue to try and turtle, especially turn away because you're kind of facing in the opposite direction. So if you're facing in the opposite direction, she's not trying to control your hips. It's a great time to turn away. And back in position. She's taking forever to tie her belt. Now she brings her arms over to the other side, so it didn't seem like this is the grip that she had before, but if she was, then turning away really wasn't the best option. Nice control of the hook, nice way to worm out. Nice come up, Beatrice. I would bring that knee in the butt before she had a chance to lock up those legs, but now that she has, I would really work on posturing tall and stepping over her body with this leg. And not taking my time really here. Or even, oh, wow, you are so strong, girl. Oh my God. Even I was going to say, before you lifted her body off the mat, if you wanted to try something silly, you have much longer legs than she does. You could have thrown your legs over her body, crossed them together, and then extended your body backwards and probably gotten yourself out of the situation. But holy heck, you're strong. This might also be a good strategy to burn out her legs, especially because she has to rely on holding you up there. Stepping over might be a good idea from here, bringing a knee to the inside of the hip crease to escape. Nice knee in the butt action here. Try to connect your elbow or your chin to the knee to give yourself some breathing room. Oh, she goes in for that arm bar. I'm not sure if you tapped or if the match ended. Beatrice, that was a really good match. You fought like hell throughout all of it. Like, not like hell, like you did bad. Like, you fought really well and you fought with a lot of heart. You didn't give up. I think just maybe you should have. I'm sorry, not you should have. I think you should just try to think about playing around with some of the positions that you're doing a little bit more. like have a concrete game plan for what you're about to do in closed guard and make sure that it's tried and true before you test it out on the comp mats. So if you love doing that hip bump, choke, kimura sequence, make sure that you work on it in a way that it actually works several times in training as transitioning position, so you know the sequence you're supposed to do them in, and you're able to catch someone from there, because it seems like the things you were trying, they were good attempts for sure, and like you definitely almost caught her a couple of times, but they weren't sure things, and we always want to make sure we have sure things in a comp setting. And on that last one, it seemed to me a little bit like on the triangle, you maybe fizzled out a little bit. Maybe you, I believe that I can't really tell if you tapped to that armbar or not, but I think you could have given more energy behind escaping that triangle the same way that she gave that energy to just hop over. I really think if you had you either stepped over really hard and kind of pressed your hips into her back, you could have escaped, as well as if you had thrown your legs over her body because they're so much longer, you could have reached her and then extended yourself back and possibly escaped. Even if she then later went to mount, your legs are so long, you probably could have thrown them over hips there and then bellied out and tried to escape from there as well. Otherwise, you did a really great job. I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. If you have any specific questions about anything that I've told you, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, or or if you need me to demonstrate anything or show you anything, go ahead and hit me up on ChamChat so I can send you a more detailed video response or a more detailed answer to any questions you might have. Thank you so much, Beatrice. I hope to see you soon. I hope you keep competing because you're a killer. Bye now.